grubs. Camera light going on, you can see. Now looking down here, there's lots of bees pretty well across this, so it's in quite good heart. If they gather just in a few combs, then they're weak.
They should go across the board.
So if they spread across, they're occupying significant areas of the hive, so that would tell me it's quite prosperous. We'll soon find out more. And we'll be ready to have supers put on. Got an excluder as well, Rag. Excluder as well, Rag.
What's that?
Excluder as well.
Yeah.
You might need it. I think you will. If you work slowly, it is nice not to be gloved up, unless the bees' reaction is unfavourable and they tell you in their own inimitable way that you should put your gloves on. Now there's an empty comb with bees cleaning it up, and there's pollen which they've got. See the coloured pollen in the bottom of the comb? It's white there.
Oh yeah.
Or it might be granulated stores, granulated honey. Yeah, I think it's granulated honey which they're using up. They have to add moisture to it. What bees collect in early spring and now is lots of water to dissolve any granulated honey.
Which is what's given to them.
Into the consistency they want. I mean, it'll be natural honey from last season, supplemented, if necessary, by sugar syrup, which becomes another form of sweetness. Certainly sugar syrup doesn't have any other magical properties like natural honey does.
Do they mind the light when you do this?
They don't mind it. They're well aware that you open the lid and they think, what's going on here? Do we sting these guys or are they friendly? Now you see, I'm managing so far to work barehanded, and it is nice until they let you know otherwise. Now there's a good comb with different pollen colour mixtures. Can you zoom in?
Yep.
Different colours of pollen. And it's not so populated with bees that you can't see it. You can get a good shot. That'll be a good shot,
Really
I imagine.
Good. Really good.
And that's the stores. The pollen and the nectar mixed together is the food for the young grubs that hatch from the egg. So the egg hatches in about 3 days. Thereupon the little grub is fed by young nurse bees, as they call them, who mix the pollen and honey and feed it to the young grubs, and as they develop they get hungrier.
So they feed on both pollen and honey?
A mixture of pollen and nectar.
Pollen
Fresh
and nectar.
incoming nectar, I expect, is what the bees prefer, but they'll use stored honey, or freshly, recently gathered honey is probably what they'll choose. But they'll go into stored honey when they need to. Spell of bad weather, they'll keep working, especially this time of year, they'll keep breeding, using up the stored honey they have. Here's some brood with eggs and grubs. And that's the third comb in. Eggs and grubs. Don't know whether you'll be able to get them on the camera. Here's the queen, green mark on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
So that's a new queen from last year.
Here she is on this side now.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Wow, she really roams.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's eggs both sides of that and grubs, both just hatched grub. You won't see them in the camera shot unless you have a special, particular camera and
don't.
strong lighting. It wouldn't show. But there she is, and there's brood in the middle. There's a patch of brown,
Yeah.
which is a sealed brood, and round it are white grubs, which are not yet ready for sealing, but will be as soon as. Now we need to be careful with that. That is the hive. The hive is the queen. No queen, no hive. And she's got to churn out eggs from that massive abdomen and build up the numbers, because they've got to rise to 60,000 in high summer, and they're dying all the time because they live, the working life in summer is about 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks of any one bee. So you can see that it's a numbers game.
Good.
Now here's more brood.
Yeah.
Lovely patch of sealed brood. The brown
Yeah.
stuff is the sealed brood, and all the bees are tending to it, keeping the place clean, There's no grubs there, I don't think. Oh yes there are, yes, there's grubs
Yes,
there needing
yes.
fed and
Yeah.
the eggs around the outer perimeter. It normally forms a circle, so that this is the centre all sealed and the outside ones are coming on. And as the centre ones hatch out, the outside ones mature and the queen starts laying in the middle again. She needs the space. And as the cells are vacated by the hatch, nurse bees come in and clean up. In each cell, when it's ready to receive the egg, the next egg that the queen lays. And then the whole cycle repeats. Oh dear, what is it, 15 days for a queen, 18 days for a worker. From the egg, a new queen will hatch out in 15 days. A female worker will hatch out in 18 days, and a drone male takes 21 days. Mainly because they're big greedy buggers.
Well, we've got plenty of bees here, haven't we? They're looking good.
It's in good heart, definitely ready for a super.
Yeah.
And everything happening as you'd want it to.
Ready for a...
Super, shallow super of honey. The box.
This goes on first, which is the excluder, which prevents, the size is just enough to prevent the queen from coming up from the box. Otherwise she would lay in where all the honey stores are.
Ah, right.
So which you don't want.
Okay. So now this is not... This is literally the hive. This is not for honey. This.
No, this is just the brood.
The hive is for a build up and we'll make the honey
And
when
for the
you...
honey store, so this will go on first, and then that box over there, which has, they're slightly shallower than the frames in the brood box. And then as the bees collect the honey, they'll come up through here and store it in the boxes above, but the queen won't be able to get up to lay.
Don't sting me, it's not necessary, I'm your friend. Don't agree with that, says one of the bees. I'm going to bloody sting you and that's it, you've got to... And when that starts, you just put the gloves on, because the venom from the sting triggers off the alarm signals, and it's an alarm signal, and the other bees think, uh-oh,
Okay.
action girls. And suddenly it can swing from everything calm and sweet to a lot of them trying to sting you.
Particularly when you're taking the honey off. I've often wear double gloves when I'm taking the honey. It's like last year I didn't get through, but I had about 20 stings on either hand. But because I had double gloves on, nothing actually got right through. But just in that 5 minutes of removing the honey, when they know that
They
you're
can
coming,
get very jealously guard what they've worked so hard for.
Yeah.
And along comes a beekeeper to steal it. Well, of course, their resentment is understandable.
But I haven't fed any of these now for the last 4 years with any sugar water or anything, so they just survive off their own honey supplies, which they've never been short of.
It's good. It's a good site, good nectar gathering area, and pure honey is a better food for bees than sugar syrup.
Yeah.
It's the best. And if they do enough to give rag a crop, that's fine. I'll scrape this off. They'll always make this stuff on top, but in the spring, like now, it's a good thing to, while it's soft with the warmth of the number of bees, I can just work this hive tool along and scrape it off the combs. Otherwise they tend to build more and more brace comb in the gap between one box and the next. If the gap's right, they'll only do it to a minimal extent. And this pattern on the top of these bars is the queen excluder pattern.
Right.
Which is slotted shape.
Yeah, these two hives have produced around about £130 each year for the last 3 years, which is incredible.
One hive. These two together.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to raise another one.
So I think last year the hive there had £100 itself, and then there was just about another 30 off of this one.
You seldom get two equal strength. It's funny the way things go.
And there's never any conflict between two hives.
No, they're separate entities, but they'll defend themselves against any other bees which don't have the same hive scent. So if a bee tries to stray into the wrong hive, well, normally the guard bees in the entrance will say, right, piss off, because you don't smell right. Pardon my language, but I'm putting it in plain, uncoded.
A bit of smoke on them.
You can tell they're just beginning to buzz around a bit, so just keep them calm. And so far, none of them stung me. One thought about it. And if you keep slow and deliberate, it makes it possible. But it's so nice to be able to work if you can. When the hive gets really strong, it's really best to have gloves because things can suddenly switch on, and if you're not protected, you have to suffer a lot of stings before you're ready. You don't want that. But having said that, bee stings aren't bad for you, and unless you're sensitive to them, such people should not keep bees or allow themselves to get stung. Look at that brood, a whole comb full of brood.
Wonderful.
So this colony
I can
is
see
in
the
good heart,
grubs.
definitely a superon. We'll do that in a minute. You'll notice I'm just working slow movements. Fast movements will attract their attention. So my hand movements are slow and deliberate. They build little bits of comb at the bottom of the frame. It gives them a bridge to jump up off the floorboard onto the combs. You can scrape it off, but if they want more, they'll just build more, so there's no use fighting against their instincts. If they want it, they'll make it. But if there's a lot of it, you might need to trim some of it away. But it's not doing any harm. The main thing is to have good combs, and I would think you'll want to have a nucleus made up from this one as a swarm control process, and that gives you another colony again.
Yeah.
Right. There's loads of brood here, so this is strong, and then when these hatch out, the number increases is phenomenal. So it's essential to have plenty of room. Have you got any foundation at home?
Not brood foundation.
No. Any more brood combs at home that haven't got anything in them? Right.
Maybe nip over.
You'll probably get enough from here, but if you can get a few combs made up with foundation,
Ready for the new when they
and
split
when you make
this
it,
one.
when you make it quite soon,
Yeah.
there's eggs are even over this side, even as far as over here.
Oh, what a delicious smell.
Now there's lots of eggs there, which are little white specks. Get really close, and you'll probably catch them on the film. Little white specks in the bottom of the cells. Those eggs. If it shows on the film, you can't get any closer than that, can you? It just distorts if you get too close. I
That's
suppose.
perfect. So that's a cell ready to be closed.
No, there's
Nice.
eggs in the bottom waiting to hatch, and the grubs will then be fed up to the point where they're ready to be sealed over.
Ah,
So the eggs is like the little comma mark, a couple of mil long, and then that will expand into the grub.
And here are
And then once
grubs.
the grub's a certain age, they will
Here
seal
are some
over.
grubs. Little curly things in the bottom of the cell. About 4 days old, maybe. So that queen's laying well right.
Yeah.
She looks nice. And they're keeping calm so far. No reason not to. I find that when I'm working with bees, especially myself, it's this thing I do because I'm daft. I talk to them. I talk to them. Don't get stroppy with me today, mate. Come on, pack it in. And I'm running this self-morale boosting conversation with them, pretending I'm in charge, which I'm not. They're in charge. At the edge, you'll get pollen stores and nectar stores, of which there isn't a huge amount, but nectar out there is fully available this time of year, and the end comb, they are depending on incoming. Tell you what we could do, give them a bit of food, we'll replace this end one with a stores comb, and that gives you one nice empty one.
That one's completely empty.
Completely empty. That's what you want to save with those to make up your nucleus. That's
Pick
got
one of
plenty
these
of
in?
pollen, so any one of those in there, yeah. Lovely. And it's nice and wet, that'll attract their attention. Might do the same on the other side. Okay, so we go back to the other side now, and one can push them in threes, slide across the bar. That's a metal runner, which allows for, and you've got to close them up tight, and they slide across, and you can use the hive tool to push them in tight. You need to retain the spaces but not have any accidentally wider than the shoulders of the frames dictate. So as we get closer, that's got weight in it. That's got stores in it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 11, so that's it really. And you make them up nice and tight.
Just a spacing board just to give them.
Another thing I do rag with this, you've seen me do it, put that down, use it as a lever, closes them up nice and tight. They're all closed up to the right spacing, determined by the shoulders on the frames. So they've got one comb of food, and you can always give them another one if need be, but that's got pollen in, and pollen's probably more important. So there's 1 or 2 empty ones in here, plus this one we've added to it, so you could make up a swarm prevention plus queen rearing set up, and you'll get new queen, new colony, and you'll have 2 colonies, which will build up depending on the season.
So these frames are from last year, which have been extracted. So these are all full of honey that have been extracted and then overwintered in the attic. There's some new ones in there as well.
Newly drawn, nice white ones. And that's part drawn from last year. They'll draw the rest of it when the heat comes on it. They'll draw from that sheet of embossed wax and complete the process, especially as they've started. Take an end one out and go for 10. You get them thicker combs then. Which is handy for extracting, and they'll generally space these by eye. Put those close because you space these a little bit wider. That's got a bit of honey in it, that won't do any harm. You'll use that today. And oh, lovely. Perfect. We'll look up all that, tidy it up, clean it up, use it for making food for the youngsters. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, that's right. That's part drawn, so we'll close it up a little bit. Leave that close to that one. Space a bit more. And draw those wider. If you have combs too far apart, they'll brill tongues of wild comb in between 2 frames, and you don't want that. But if you leave them at the full box complement, they tend to be a bit slim. If you widen them out a bit as they work on them, they'll draw more wax out and have thicker combs, which is good.
You got that tool? I'll try and.
One of the ways in which the thicker combs of wax are good is you don't do so much extracting, and also if you're making cut comb to go in little trays and people eat it wax and all, then they're thicker and they fill the tray nicer. Oh, there's so many things about beekeeping. I could go on forever. It's only 10 to 11. We're still on the first page.
That there.
Yeah.
Just put that straight back on us.
Yeah.
Or try and give it a
scrape. Put it on a flat surface, a lid or a hard surface. Scrape it both sides, and it'll. If it gets very hot, it gives them a little bit of ventilation because the roof's got ventilation. Generally speaking, it's better to have a bit of ventilation at the top, at least of one anyway. Add a little node as well if you like. It'll sit on its own.
Yeah.
Well, they don't seem to have been phased by that at all.
They're good temperament bees, and the weather's good. They're busy collecting nectar and pollen, and we're working slowly and gently with them, which works. It won't be that long before you need the other super. That's and go to another shallow super. This is the go home. If you've got another shallow up at the hut, that can go in it. Or with them.
Yeah.
So one of those, what the box you've just put on, if that was full, that would be how many pounds of?
30. A full
30.
shallow super of honey, well filled, side to side, is 30 pounds, give or take.
And what would be a stack at the end? You'd have
Well,
3
you
or
might
4.
get 4.
Yeah,
On a
3
really
or
good
4,
season,
yeah.
you get 3 or 4.
Yeah, we had 4 on there last year.
420 pounds if they're full.
That's pretty heavy as well.
And
Lugging
you
it
can
about.
think of a retail price in the shops and do the maths, and it all makes you smile.